Alright, I want to give you my quick impression of this Allturn plastic welder kit that I received probably a couple of months ago, and I've used it several times since. So let me go ahead and get started, but before I do that, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get notifications of when I put videos up in the future. Alright, let's look at the kit itself. Comes with a number of accessories, one of them being a package full of sandpaper, screening to smooth repairs out, various welding rods, which I haven't really used these yet, but the Amazon website does give you a color code description of what type of plastic each of these welding rods are. Of course, it also has the welding gun itself, which heats up pretty quickly. In about 2 seconds, each of these tips that you'll be using will heat up. There is a hot knife attachment, which works really well. I've used this one already. Actually, here's the dirtier version of it. Diagonal cut pliers, a pretty decent blade, and 100 of these little staples. Now, there's different shapes of staples. The one I use the most is this one. It has a pretty aggressive S-curve to it, and it does a pretty good job, I think, of holding things together. One of the things I do when I put it into the plastic is after it sinks in, I actually give it a little twist to these things will kind of latch in underneath the unmelted plastic, and that seems to hold better. The 4 types are right here, and what they'll tell you is this is for regular welding, this is for outside corner, this is for inside corners, and it just gives you a quick overview of each of those types. So aside from all the pieces you get, it actually gives you extra packages of each of those plastic weld staples, which I think is pretty much a good supply. Now, I've done some welding on this already. One of the things I've welded is a Fender, and as you can see here, I'm using some of the inside corner pieces as well as the straight pieces. And one of the things that I really liked about this is it's a temporary fix, but it may be there for a while. These fenders ain't cheap, and this seems to have done a pretty decent job. You've seen the repair process. Here's that crack on that fender. Here's another crack. There was a few pieces missing, or I would have welded them back in. But it's held up surprisingly well. I mean, I can literally put my weight on it, which is not insubstantial. And can't say it did a bad job. It did a pretty good job. I will replace this fender. These repairs to me are temporary until you get a replacement for the whatever it is you're fixing. Or if it's something that's not cosmetically important, then I mean it could be forever, or almost forever. I'm gonna give you a quick example of how it can work on something as common as a refrigerator tray. This came off a refrigerator. It's got a massive crack in the back. It's separated from here, and unfortunately, these things cost about 60 bucks to replace, and so they're not cheap. It's in a whole nother topic as to why they cost that much, but I'm just going to show you a quick demonstration of how this works and how you can use this plastic welder to fix it. Now, this only consumes 100 watts, so I don't anticipate that there's going to be any issues with it tripping a breaker. It's fairly low power consumption for what it does. Now, I'm getting some of these out and ready here. And I'll use a couple of those shallow ones too, just because, why not? These will actually work good where there's maybe a cosmetic reason to not show as much. So, get a few more out here. These I think will provide a greater strength or greater holding power. And I'll use these where it might be more cosmetically attractive or not attractive, as the case may be. So where I'm going to start with is right here in the bottom. Now, quick word of advice. This goes in here. These tips slide right in. The way this works is it puts a current through this and makes it hot. These do not get hot. And I'll prove that in a minute. Hopefully not to my dismay. Got the little light is on, showing that it's heating. It's going to glow cherry red. You can see that. You want to set it in there, let go. Let it cool down some. Lift it up. These are not hot. So I put one close to the edge of the seam so it doesn't run, or to the edge of the crack. These slide right in here. The edges of these are chamfered or grooved in. You want to be careful not to go too deep or it'll go right through. Let it cool. Now I'll just run some down here. There we go. Now, you could use the pliers that they give you to flush cut these. They don't do a very good job, to be honest with you. I prefer to use my own as they get a little bit closer. Oh, there you go. It's not the prettiest thing in the world. Final thoughts on the Allturn plastic welder. I give it a thumbs up. I think it's worth having. It is pretty effective at attaching the pieces back together that may be broken. And at the end of the day, it may not be cosmetically pleasing, but if that's not important to you, there's one or two things to consider. One, it'll hold the part together until you replace it with something that is cosmetically pleasing. Or two, if you don't care about cosmetics, it'll probably hold a pretty long time. Probably as long as you need to use that piece, whatever it may be. So at the end of the day, yeah, I do recommend it. I do have links to this in the description below, so if you're interested, you can follow the link. And other than that, I hope this video has been helpful to you, and if it has, hit share and like. Thanks for watching. Alright, so my final thoughts. It'll hold on almost forever. Or, I guess. It won't really hold on forever. So it'll probably hold up, if not forever, at least long enough to let you use and get